let's get into this review. Now, I've done a controller before on this channel, 2 off-brand controllers. One worked super great. The Five Below one was kind of the one that just holds you over till you get a real pair of Joy-Cons. But this right here is one of those controllers that I think everyone should have, especially if you're in handheld mode. Now, what I will say immediately is that yes, it is $50, so it's a little pricey for a control. Well, actually, controllers now are like $70, $80 for some brands. Some are $200, it's ridiculous. But this is actually reasonably priced. The problem with it is that it's only one. It cannot be hooked up to a Nintendo Switch while in docking mode. It has to be hooked up while in handheld mode because there's no chargeable battery. It just clicks on and it plays. So be aware of that. And it does make your Switch look a little chunky. And I'm going to show you in a moment. I do have the actual Nintendo Switch with me, so I can show you guys how it looks while clicked onto the system. So first things first, there are extra, we're looking at here, it teaches you how to, you have your controls in here, basically your instructions. You toss that to the side. What that does, this actually has extra paddles in the back. So you have your controller right here. You have your programmable buttons. I'm sure I said that wrong. Programmable, there we go, buttons on the back of the controller. Personally, I don't use those. I just use it as is, like a regular Nintendo Switch controller. And here you are. Now, this is more so for the person, this is more so for an adult. Obviously, a kid could use this because if you're using a PS5, PS4, PS3, any game system controller, they come normally in one size unless you actually are getting a different brand. This one right here, I love the way this feels. I'm going to say this now. Actually, let's snap this on. So I can show you in real time how it is. So this is how the aesthetic is. Of course, I'm going to give you an example of how it looks while playing an actual game. The only issue is that you will not be able to put a case over this. A skin, possibly, more likely a skin, but an actual case is not going to work with these locking mechanisms right here. The way it clicks in, you hold the button to take it out. Normally a case covers the entire Nintendo Switch, but with this guy right here, basically, you can't. It's not possible. It's just really, really not possible. On the other hand, in order to wake it up, obviously you have to hit the lock button. It'll automatically work right away. Now, just in case this does not work immediately, what you'll have to do is, with a regular controller or touchscreen, is go all the way to where it says controllers and sensors and turn on Pro Controller Wired Communication. When that's on, any third-party controller like this, when you snap it in, should work. Some of them you do have to sync. This particular one you don't, because the moment that I decide to take this off, as you can see, it does not work. It does not have wireless capabilities. It's strictly to be used in handheld mode, and that is it. So that is something to be aware of when you have this particular, oh my gosh, no, I don't want you to do that. Let me lock that. I don't want you to do any updates. So that is how it looks. What I will say is that because Joy-Cons probably come out to about right here, half this size, this is a little bit heavier, though the grip is not as bad as you think it's going to be with the grip. In addition to that, you can see my little reflection right there. Again, you're not going to get the hand fatigue while using these. I know I play Minecraft on my Switch and other games, and games that require you to use the triggers. And when you use regular Joy-Cons, it feels very weird to hold them a particular way in your hand. So, and it causes sometimes cramps in your hands. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is wait for this nonsense. Can I go now? Thank you. All right. And I have Dying Light right here for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and play it just to show you how simple, like this thing is very, very flexible. I love the way the analogs feel. The D-pad feels nice. Personally, I don't use turbo buttons or anything like that. In this day and age, I don't even know what a turbo button is even for at this point. The assign button, if you follow the instructions, allow you to actually set it up where you can figure out what these paddles on the back do. I'll leave that to you to read the instructions. Personally, I don't use any extra type of buttons on any controller that I use. I don't find it necessary. Yes, I want to play in single player mode. I forget that this is on Nintendo Switch Dying Light 1. So sometimes if you're not connected to the internet, it makes you go through all these ridiculous loading screens and telling you that you're going to be in single player mode. And yes, like I'm aware that I'll be in single player mode. And this is Dying Light 1 for those that are wondering what this game is. Dying Light 2 will be released for Nintendo Switch, I believe. They mention it, but it's going to be like I think it's like a streaming thing. It won't actually be a regular cartridge copy, I don't think. But here we are. So let me go ahead and look at it this way. So the controllers work very, very well. You have your jump buttons. Everything is super responsive. I know with a lot of controller, yes, offline mode. I know with a lot of controllers, the problems that we have with regular controllers or off-brand is that a lot of times the response to the controller isn't very good. So if you're looking at this, there we go. It's working very, very well. It feels good in the hand. It feels very solid. Knock a zombie's head off. Hopefully I don't get, what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, I mean, this definitely can't be under 18 now. I just popped the zombie's head off, but but the controller feels great. All the buttons feel good. The controller feels good. It feels very, very natural. You know, with a lot of off-brand controllers, meaning like, you know, a lot of those second-party controllers, a lot of times the analog feels extremely stiff. And because the analog feels stiff, the buttons tend on other controllers to, you know, just not respond as well as say something like this. But this responds very, very well. Love the feel. Feels very natural. You can use this for hours and upon hours without getting hand fatigue. And again, it doesn't require a battery, so you don't have to worry about this draining the battery of your Nintendo Switch like the regular Joy-Cons because they're not charged. The Switch actually doubles down as a charger. So something to think about. But like I said, for $49.99, this is a very, very good controller. I really do suggest this, especially for those that play in handheld mode. I mean, the only issue that you have is if you have the typical Nintendo Switch case, it is going to be difficult for you to carry this around. You would need a different case, or you would need to just take the Joy-Cons off. And when they're inside the book bag, I know a lot of people had this problem with their old Joy-Cons. The analog is not going to get damaged while inside the case. Because with the old Joy-Cons, if you had them inside of the actual case or inside of your book bags unprotected, if the analog got pressed on, it tend to damage the analogs early, and then you had basically Joy-Con drift. But I have not had this problem with these. Now, I do have a pair of Machine Machina, I forget what the name of the game is, and I have a Pokemon one that I actually gave my godchildren. So they're used to them, they love them. They don't even use regular Joy-Cons anymore. Unless, you know, it's a game that requires some type of motion controls, because this does not have motion controls. Now, what I am going to also do is a little test right here. Just want to make sure that this works. I know this is going to be a question that people are probably going to ask me. I'm going to go to the controller settings, and vibration is on. I don't think this controller actually has vibration, to be honest with you. I'm just checking down, because as I'm playing this game, normally when you hit zombies in the head in Dying Light, the controller does vibrate. But this particular one is not vibrating. So let me go ahead and just turn it on and turn it off and see if it comes on. No, I don't think this controller actually has vibrate. If it does have vibrate, I'll put in the comments section in the description that it does, and I made a mistake. But I feel like this controller doesn't have vibrate, because normally when you play games like Dying Light, you hit the zombie, you feel the actual, what's the word I'm looking for here? You feel the controller vibrate when you hit the zombies. Let me get grabbed, see what happens. Nope. Yeah, I don't think this game has vibrate. I mean, not this game, this controller. So yeah, unfortunately, it looks like this controller does not have the vibrating feature, which is odd. I could have swore it did before, but I guess I use so many controllers, I mix them up. But it doesn't have it. But outside of that, if you're willing to deal with the non-vibration, which I'm perfectly fine with, I could care less if this thing vibrates. This is a A1 controller that will have long battery life. I believe it does have like some type of replacement plan that you can probably get through the actual company if something goes wrong with it. but you can find them for $49.99. GameStop does have them, but they rarely carry them. Sometimes it's kind of like first come, first served. But if you go to stores like Walmart, which is where I purchased mine for $49.99, or I can't say Best Buy, maybe Best Buy online, but Walmart does have these. They had them in red. I actually thought these were black at first. They're actually blue. So I think I made this video long enough. Very good controller. If you guys want to see a video of me actually syncing the assigned keys, the extra keys, I'll do a quick video for you guys. Just let me know in the comment section. Definitely suggest this. The D-pad feels good. The analog feels good. The buttons don't feel stiff. There's no delays in the controller. If you're in handheld mode, like I said, the only downside is it does make it a little weightier, and it's hard, and there's not really a carrying case for this. And the fact that you will have to take your regular switch case out of the controller. You will have to take the switch case off the switch in order to use this particular controller. That's the only really downside. So with that being said, that's the video. So like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.